How you guys doing tonight? I want to make a video talking about why I write and how I came about writing. Uh, I've been writing for about a year now, and it started off with just writing in a journal, writing down my thoughts. I was going through a really difficult time, and I didn't know how else to express my feelings, and so I just wrote it down. And I wrote pages and pages and pages, and I never shared it with anybody. And then one day I decided to write a poem. And I thought, I like this poem. I'm going to share it with my friends on Facebook. And again, I didn't think that anybody would respond. And so I shared it. And then I got a few responses, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, people aren't laughing at me, or people aren't criticizing me, or there's some people who like what I have to say. And I guess being the sort of, we all love attention to a certain degree. I thought, okay, so I'm going to start writing more for like an audience. Like, obviously, I'm not going to share my journals with my friends, but let me start writing poetry and throwing it out there, and people were responsive. And I think something happened where I saw somebody else that had written on Facebook, and I thought, I can do that. Yeah, that's not that difficult. Uh, and so it just propelled me to continue writing. I don't know how it came about, but I said, maybe I want to connect with other writers, because on my Facebook was just my friends, and as much as I liked their support, I wanted to connect with other writers, and I found Facebook was very limiting. So I started a blog, and I'm a very persistent person, so I wanted as many followers as I could. So I would just follow whatever blogs were interesting, and I would interact with them, and I would try to do whatever it took to sort of get my name out there, hoping that somebody else would go to my blog and start reading my writing. I mean, it's really as simple as that. I'm like, making your blog grow. To me, that's the biggest tip, is honestly try to find writers that are active and have a lot of followers, and try to connect with them and connect with their followers, and it's like networking. But back to why I write. There's a few reasons. It's first I have to say that I am not an author. I've never published a book. I don't write for a magazine. I write for myself and my audience. And that's the only people that I'm beholden to. I mean, someday I would like to be a writer or published in some sense, but for right now, it's just basically therapy. Blogging for me is a way to share my everyday thoughts with people and to be connected, because before writing, I felt disconnected from people. I mean, even now in real life, I don't feel connected with people. I would talk about certain things, certain feelings, and people just didn't understand where I was coming from. So I started writing about all these sort of deep personal things. I started writing about my brother's death. I started writing about my disabilities. I started writing about being bullied. I started writing about my friends. I wrote blogs about how I felt about my friends, things I had been feeling for many, many years that I had never told them. Like the fact that, I feared them at one point because of the past and all this other stuff. And I thought, this is going to really make people upset. But a lot of people have been responsive. And that's been, amazing to me. What else was I going to say? So, yeah, it's therapeutic. So I started doing that, and then, I don't know, it just grew. I just added a hell of a lot of people. Started connecting with people. And the blog has grown. I mean, I have 1,200 followers, which I'm not bragging. It's just amazing to me because it's an audience. I've never had an audience in my life. And it's gotten me closer to people because I've had people come back to me and say that my writing has affected them. And I didn't think it did. I mean, I wrote to help me. I never thought that it was helping other people. And now I'm at a point where I'm realizing that it's no longer just therapeutic for me, but it's helping other people, and it's hopefully going to inspire people. And I used to have this thing where I would get maybe annoyed or frustrated, especially on Facebook, where I didn't get the responses I wanted. And I've come to realize that whether somebody responds to it or not, or comments on it or not, that the important thing is not the response. The important thing is that hopefully somebody read this and it made a difference in their life, and or it gave them insight into who I am. Because I was and to a certain extent am still a withdrawn person. So writing gives me that chance to express myself to people and to tell them how I feel. And I write poetry, I write blogs, and I certainly, even now, feel strange calling myself a writer. But in connecting with other writers, they've told me to own up to that label. So I choose to. And then, so it's not just the blog or Facebook. Instagram, I've connected with a lot of writers, and it's this huge community that I had no idea even existed. And I'm proud to be part of that. So, yeah, do I want to be published one day? Sure. But right now it's more important to just use this as a tool to help myself and to help others and to inspire people. And I would say to anyone who's suffering from any kind of mental health or emotional or disability or what have you, is write. And you don't even have to share it. Don't share it. Just write it down, and eventually you're going to gain that confidence. And then one day you're going to realize, maybe I should share this with people. Because people are a lot more responsive than you realize. And people care. I mean, I think as a man, I was always feeling like it's weak to share your feelings, to overshare your feelings, or to be too emotional. And I used to beat myself up about it. I used to say, why can't I sort of control my emotions, and why do I have to talk about my feelings all the time? And once I started writing, this thing happened where I wasn't quite as emotional in real life. I had this outlet. So when I was frustrated at work, or I was frustrated with a particular person, or even if things were good, I had this place to go to. And then I no longer had to act out or be as depressed. I mean, I still have depression, but it's different. I handle it differently. And then the other thing about the writing is it's not just the blog post, but I've written letters to people. I've written cards to people. I've sent people messages, and I've told them how I felt about them. And that's been really cathartic. To tell somebody, for example, you did this back then and it meant so much to me. It's a beautiful thing. And sometimes people respond, other times they don't. But it's to get all those feelings out. Because I've been holding on to these feelings for 20 plus years. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to hold on to my feelings anymore. I'm going to express them appropriately, obviously. But writing has given me that confidence. And I made a previous video, and part of it is I had a therapist, and I was telling her about how I went back home and I saw my friends and how wonderful they are and how more confident I am. And she said, well, what do you think is the main thing? And I at first I thought it was my friends, and that's a part of it. But it was also the writing. the writing has been like that saving grace. Um, Writing about God or writing about depression, anxiety, and realizing through writing, realizing I'm not alone. This whole time I thought these thoughts are crazy and I'm alone, and then you make a blog post and you get 6, 7 comments saying I've been there. That's the first time in my life that I've ever said, hey, I feel this way, and someone said, I know what you mean. Because most people that I come across, they don't understand at all, period. And only through writing have I been able to really, really connect with people. So yeah. So writing, like my blog, again, my blog is solely personal, and probably will be continue to be personal. And the only goal that I have really is to inspire people and to be inspired by others. And you guys are great. It's a great, great community, and I am extremely grateful. And I hope to continue writing in 2019. And I hope to reach more people, and I hope to have 5,000 followers. Who knows? I think the dream for me would be like to meet other writers in person. Maybe through Instagram or maybe through Facebook. I don't know. But I don't know. I would love to meet friends that write. I would love to meet a woman. I mean, that's like for me. To meet a woman who's sensitive, who writes, who understands where I'm coming from. I mean, because I haven't found that, and maybe someday I will. But the writing has definitely gotten me closer to my old friends and new friends, and I'm extremely grateful. So yeah, keep writing, man. All right.